Hello, my name is Caitlin Fleming. Today I'll be talking about scoliosis screenings in school. Scoliosis can affect anybody at any age. However, it is most common in children. I was diagnosed with scoliosis when I turned 13. My doctor was the one who diagnosed me. She said it wouldn't have been so bad if I was diagnosed at school. Scoliosis is considered a growth abnormality. To detect scoliosis, there are screenings that children should have. Scoliosis should be caught in the initial stages. Today, I will give you the reasons why scoliosis should be checked in schools and why others think not. I'm going to tell you how this abnormality can affect children eventually, including surgery and many other drastic things. Let us start with how screening in school could be beneficial. Screenings provided by the school in the age range 10 to 14 can be beneficial in catching this curve early on. Why, may you ask? Catching the curve early on can allow the doctors to watch the curve or assess what needs to be done. The scoliosis curves are called congenital, caused by birth defect, idiopathic, no definite cause, neuromuscular, and caused by a medical condition. You may be wondering why I listed all the different scoliosis names. I am trying to give you a different aspect of what they are, but the one that most children have is idiopathic adolescent scoliosis. According to UCL Health, 10% of children with this type of scoliosis do not have treatment for it. Their doctors usually just watch over it. However, when it has gotten to the most extreme, it makes the spine look like a C or S curve. Like this one right here. This is an S curve, and it's only 66 degrees. This was my curve. And then this is somebody else's curve that was 44 degrees. Even though some states do not require scoliosis screenings in schools, some do. According to the National Library of Health, 33 schools in the U.S. provide screenings. So since only this number of states want the screening to be done, they may have a better outcome and can be caught early on. According to the scoliosis screening guidelines, schools being able to have this screening could provide them with how to change the student educational program. If schools could provide this screening, it could change how a student may feel, sense of maybe having pain for something they did not know they had. Also, some medical professionals believe failure to not do the screening could put a lot of children at risk of having a worse curve in their spine. My experience with scoliosis and learning from my doctor changed my life. I went to just thinking that it was normal for my back to hurt, and my parents thinking me being sideways was normal to not being anymore. My doctor asked my mom if they checked me at school, and she said no. I had to go to Shriners Hospital in Greenville to get more x-rays done. I wore a back brace for a while at night and had physical therapy done. They both did not work, so I had to have surgery done. Instead of the rods, I had done the tethering, like bungee cords in your back. It was to help me be more flexible in the long run instead of just straight up. The difference from the rod and the tethering is the rods is straight up and down, and the tethering you can move more flexibly. And then this is one of the braces you can have. There's nighttime braces and daytime braces. And then this was my back after the surgery. This was before. Since I mentioned why screening in schools could be beneficial in my story, let me tell you the downside of screening. first, I'm going to tell you about the chart I made. But this information was also from the National Library of Health. So in 1994 to 2004, they had 514 children who were checked. 38% of them didn't have to go back to the doctor. And then 48.6% of them had another observation. And then 12% had bracing. And then 0.097 had surgery. But in 1994 to 2014, that's a 10-year increase from 2004. So you had no follow-up, that was 30%. So it went down for no follow-up. And for observation, it was 48%, so it stayed the same. And then for bracing, it went up 14% from 12%. And then surgery, it went up 2% from 0.097%. So since we had less people up here and we had more people over here, so if you took this number and put it over where we had this number, then all of this combined will be more than this was over here. So, since I mentioned all of this, let's go to the downside of scoliosis screening. According to the National Library of Health Medicine, the screening did not meet the criteria that was needed and had a fee provided for the screening. They also proved that the screening was unreliable and often led to being false. Since the results were somewhat false, it led to those who had a mild curve having to be needed in a brace when they did not need to be in a brace. The more children that were seen meant the more money that doctors got, more treatment children got, and overall more time. Now looking on to why some of the states do not require scoliosis screening in schools. According to the National Library of Medicine, in 2004, the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force stopped the scoliosis screening in public schools, U.S. You may well ask why they did. They needed a lot of specific measures to go about the screening which they did not have. According to the National Library of Medicine, after they completely stopped the screening done in schools in 2004, there were less children being prescribed with it. These children had a curve but did not need anything really done. Just looked at from time to time to see if the curve had progressed. But in one study I have read about in the National Library of Health, they contacted different county schools for research to see how they did the screening. In 1994 to 2004, they did during school screenings, but after it was stopped, they did after school screenings 2004 to 2014. So this concludes that they still gave the screening if the parents wanted it. To conclude everything I have, scoliosis screenings at schools are important. Not only did they catch the curve, but they also provided students the more comfortable things in school. Applying to seating in sports, but also having a more comfortable aspect in school. I hope since you all have heard from me, you may have now a different view of how important scoliosis screening is in school. Just remember that some children should have had a different treatment option if found earlier.